2 words. That's all the vocabulary needed to set the stage for what you are about to witness. 2 words will suffice in lieu of rhapsodic waxing that would only serve to masquerade the remarkable confluence of events that in these latter miles of this journey have manifested in defiance of the mystical, palpable evidence that the racing gods are indeed architects of a grand design where drama is well stamped on the blueprint. 2 words to depict a struggle for a crown so fraught, so claustrophobic to be mathematically absurd. 2 words. They are, oh boy. Stream in cyberspace into your place, sanctioned by the Maximum Velocity Racing League from Martinsville Speedway. It's the Virtual Grip Network's penultimate round coverage of the MVRL Monday Night ARCA Series. Milton, you won't need your red stapler because we're at the paperclip. The institution, J.R. Shepard, joins yours truly, Bill Soupson, hype in the VGN broadcast booth to bring you our words eye view on this Monday night, June 9th, 2025. Replay Ryan Seneca doing what he does, turning the knobs and pushing the sliders. All right, JR, it's a short track here at Martinsville, but maybe the scheduler is going to give us a break. We have kind of a smaller field than usual, so might not be quite as hectic as it did.
Hopefully not, Sue, but man, Martinsville, it's an iconic short track. You said it, only a half-mile in length, tight radius, low bank corners. That makes this track extremely difficult to get around fast. But to do it, these drivers, they're going to need to brake as late as possible while still maintaining the racing line against that curve and carrying speed through the center of the corner. Then comes the easy part. These drivers need to get the car rotated in the center of the corner and exit as straight as possible, get that horsepower planted to the racetrack and carry that speed down the straights. And oh yeah, don't forget about the driver behind you applying pressure and even potentially using the old chrome horn at times. So, bottom line tonight, if you want to win at the paperclip, you are going to have to be aggressive, but also you will have to be very precise in the line you run in order to carry that speed down each of these straights. That is going to be the ticket to maintaining your position and making passes around this track.
Good stuff from my partner, and now we have even better stuff to show you when we go to the points. You heard me kind of just go on poetically about what's happening right now. Look at these points when we dial them up. The top 4 drivers are within 2 points of each other. Justin Michael, James Lehman, and Charles Widener each have 2 wins. Now, Aiden Young does not, and the only reason he's up there is he's been so effective. The other 3 drivers, Michael, Lehman, and Widener, really, really good on stage points and bonus points. If you wipe those away, Aiden Young would be running away with this thing. Just looking through the rest of the top 10, there are 3 other drivers with wins. Zach Saunders has a win, as does the 2 drivers in 5th and 6th, Scott Patton and Michael Milford. Now, one more thing to watch out for. Remember, the race package allows drivers to drop their worst event. Missing a race tonight for the first time is Charles Widener. No, don't fear, though, because he's got 38 points in his pocket, so he's going to score 38 points tonight. That's not a lot, but it's not horrible. Now, you got to watch out. James Lehman has already missed 2 races, so he has no cushion to go by. Justin Michael also has some pocket points, but not as much as Aiden Young. He's got himself a 48-pointer sitting there if he needs it. It's going to be exciting. This, and then one more to go before we crown ourselves our first ARCA champ here for the Maximum Velocity Racing League. My goodness. Glad you are with us. Look at that Virginia sun beginning to set down there behind those billows. Oh, what a beautiful night to go racing. Shirt sleeve weather tonight. Partly cloudy skies, 79 degrees Fahrenheit. Track temperature, 82. It doesn't seem too hot. Not much of winds going on. JR rule package, they get to change tires. Oh boy, it'd be hard. A small field, maybe that makes it a little easier.
It does make it a little bit easier, and it kind of depends on when that caution comes out. I mean, definitely you can do 100 laps on a set of tires here, but you're not going to be the fastest in these heavier stock cars toward the end of a race if you're on that original set. So I do anticipate drivers coming in and getting tires. Ideally, you'd like to do that right around the halfway point, but we know that we have a stage break. I believe it's coming around lap 36 here. I expect drivers to pit then, but if we get another caution within 30 laps, I expect to see drivers ducking back down pit road.
Bonus points are so important. Let me talk about those and stage points as well. Bonus point for the pole, and we'll tell you who got that one right now. Bonus point for leading a lap, bonus point for winning. And then stage points at lap 36. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 for the guys in the top 10, and they go right towards your championship hunt. There's no playoff system. They go right towards your trophy chase. With that said, let's go ahead and give you the starting lineup. We have 23 names to call out. It is James Lehman. Well, he's going to pick up that bonus for being on the pole inside of Heath Smith.
Inside row 2, we got Greg Mall and Rob Haynes.
Justin Michael came into this race with a 1-point lead. That's evaporated with Lehman getting the bonus point. He'll start in 5th. Brandon Groover outside of him.
Yeah, back in row 4, we have title contenders inside. Aiden Young outside Scott Patton.
9th and 10, it's Jose Santa Cruz and Jack Killerwatts.
Rolling off in 11th, we got Kerry Cleaver outside William Kirk.
Mason Knapp and Ty Smith go in the biggest of the spot, and one worse.
Inside row 8, starting 15th, we got Zachary Groover outside David Rigsby in 16th.
Cal Madowski and JJ Wang, 17th and 18th.
Rolling off 19th tonight, we got Chris Braley outside in 20th, Michael Milfelt Jr.
Michael Van and Greg Parmalee in the blackjack position and the double deuce spot. Now just take this last one. Kyle Kabosh, Kyle Kalitsky, Kyle Kamenuska-Fossimeyer. We're not sure his last name. Kabosh is not his last real name. We should look that up for sure. There we go. Director, one more time on that one. Keiselbach. Thank you very much, as he'll be starting down there in the last position. So glad you're with us. And they start to roll for the pace lap. The number 50 out in front. And a dead even tie for the man who sits in second, Justin Michael. Might be a few penalties to serve. We do a parade lap and then a pace lap here because it's a short track. This one and one more before we crown ourselves our first champion. For Aiden Young, he sits back there in 7th position. He's got to change his style. He's a patient driver. He might need to think about charging a little bit earlier. Those stage points, oh, so important in the championship hunt. The perfectly mesmerizing Josie Kirkland brings the pace car in, and we're ready to go racing. We wait for the flag man to start to do what he does. Gather up the chickens, they cover around the cows because the horses are out of the barn. Lehman on the inside. It's going to make that work. The number 1, Heath Smith on the outside, is going to have trouble. Here comes Greg Mall.
Yeah, Lehman was able to grab that lead on the initial start. I was a little bit worried with him starting on that inside line, but it does appear that turns 1 and 2 do not have the grip on the initial get up and go. Heath Smith, he's going to lose another spot and fall back to 3rd here.
Smith finally tucks back in there. Justin Michael in 4th. Our first battle is Aiden Young on the inside, working on the 199 of Rob Haynes. They get that sorted out. And JR, they are single file awfully quick.
Yeah, these drivers, and we see some tight action there coming off of turn 2. These drivers, they're trying to get single file because of what we saw in that initial start. Oh, and there's contact going into turn 3. I believe we got one car around. It's going to bring out the caution, and the 99 is still spinning.
It's Cal Majowski that got turned. Having a say in it was the 80 of Chris Braley. Not sure if they got together or looked. Oh, my. Although I'll say this, Mikowski looked to be really off the pace.
Yeah, definitely. Mikowski definitely looked like he was slowing up, and I'm not sure what was happening in front of him. So I'm sure he was thinking, hey, I've got a gap in front and a gap behind me. I'm going to let this kind of play out a little bit and not get too involved. But you can see the car behind there of Chris Braley just got into the corner way hard, and I believe his left front tire was actually locking up on corner entry, so he actually overshot his braking point a little bit, and that's ultimately why that contact was made.
Ty Smith was in the 22. You saw him do a good job of weaving and sliding and avoiding contact there. All right, well, Martinsville gives us quick yellow flags. They are beginning to double up. Well, maybe not. Guess we'll go around one more time. That's our first caution. Gives us an opportunity to see who was able to move through the field a little bit. JJ Wang up 5 spots. Down in 13th.
Yeah, and Soup, he kind of did it the hard way because he started on the outside on that initial start, and that we saw was not the preferred area to be in. So that tells me that he's got a good feel as far as race conditions in this car, and looks like he's going to have to start on the outside once again.
And he did start, like you said, he started in 18th, but he was well ahead of the accident there, so he didn't vulture any of that from attrition. That was all stuff done on the track, but now JJ's, one more time, looks like they're going to push him to the outside. All right, we'll get ourselves a nice long green flag run here this time. Pace car's going to go around one more time.
Yeah, and it's always I don't know the exact word. I'm going to say frustrating. It's a little frustrating for the drivers when you have so many caution laps on a short track because you're wanting to get going, but this added time, it just gives you time to think about how the restart's going to go, the things you need to do and not do, and ultimately kind of get you worried about what your competitors are going to do around you. So we'll see. Hopefully these drivers get calmed back down. We'll get some laps in here.
You can see Lehman there trying to heat up the tires with a straight run. All right, keep your eye on the 50. He's on the inside. Greg Mall on the outside. Good jump from the inside line. Lehman's going to have it. Now Heath Smith would like to get that position back. Remember, he started in second spot and lost that. But oh, the outside line is going to work. Well done for Mall. He's going to tuck into second.
Yeah, Mall had a great line figured out there on that restart. We got another caution that's out on the speedway. This is going to have happened back in the pack some because we don't see it in the initial screen there down the front stretch.
Well, one good turn to do's another. It's Cal Majowski again.
Oh, yeah, and Chris Braley. So, oh, man, very unfortunate there for the 2-car. Kyle in the 2-car just kind of caught up in an incident he had nothing to do with, but ultimately it looked like Chris Braley got a little high coming out of the corner, got into the turn 2 wall, bounced off of the wall, and then probably some net code as he came down into Majowski, but collected Majowski again, that's going to get big damage to him, but ultimately Kyle Kabosh there in the 2-car is going to be the worst out of all those drivers along with Braley.
If I can read the chicken scratches on my yellow legal pad here, it was Braley and Mikowski involved in that furnace, was it not?
It was, yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, a little bit different incident in that case. This time it was Braley bouncing off the outside wall, and the thing is, we don't know from initial contact, that first caution, maybe he had some right front damage that he didn't know about until after we went green, because he got awful high in turn 2 there. before he made contact with the outside wall, and didn't look like he was really throttling up while he was doing it. So, yeah, definitely weird couple of accidents there on the start, but a couple of these guys are going to be knocked out for the rest of the night, and maybe we can get some racing in here.
J.R. Shepard again with another insight that perhaps the car picked up some damage from the incident before. All right, well, we're getting real good at restarts here. This time Lehman's going to have Maul one more time. I'll tell you right now, the guys up front they passed around the memo, and I'm going to say the top 10 or 12 are getting single file by the time they're out of corner 2. Now, the back of the pack, that's not quite as organized, but these guys are really doing a good job getting single file quick. And now with maybe Mikowski and, well, they're both still out there. No, Mikowski, I guess, is still out there. Braley's out there as well, so they have an opportunity to see if they can bring out one more yellow.
Oh, and Super getting ready to go green, but it does look like Chris Braley was just kicked from the server there, so a little disagreement with the admins as we go green here.
All right, with that said, we got a little bit of drama. Cal Mikowski is still out there. Meanwhile, the front three get into single file, as does Justin Michael. Michael looking out to the inside of Heath. I'm sorry, inside of Smith.
Yeah, good move there by Michael. He was looking ahead and expecting that, and he got his car angled. Oh, they're going to make contact off of turn 4. They keep it going. Aiden Smith tries to go through. He's going to get spun going into 1, and there's some other action back on the front stretch.
Aiden Young was trying to sneak by, and that's why God made drop weeks. Oh, he sits third in the points, just one nugget from the championship, and he got collected, and that's some big time ramifications point wise, as it involved Young and then and Justin Michael.
Yeah, so we'll go through some of this, but that initial contact, Heath Smith was coming off of turn 4. He's trying to keep it down and not scrape the wall, so he came off the wall maybe a quarter car width down. I don't think Michael was really expecting that and came up in, so it's kind of a driver moving up and a driver kind of staying off the wall a little bit that led to the initial contact. They kind of sorted it out as they get going here. You see Michael, he gets turned into that outside wall, but they get it back going. Aiden sees the wreck happen. He tries to go for the inside. Not much else he really could do at that point. And you see him get clipped there by Michael because he's got right front damage coming down the track. So that sends Aiden Young up the track. And ultimately, because Aiden Young spun, Heath Smith is going to get damage to the front end. So he's actually got the entire front nose knocked off of his car. And you can see it come off right there in our clip. So, yeah, he's got definite damage. So that's going to be a big issue there for Smith as he tries to continue. I just don't see how he's going to be able to have the downforce, but he'll be able to continue.
All right, folks, I'm going to send my director on a little hunt. See if you can find Beaver Cleaver for me there, director. Car number 69. Is he available to talk to? Hey! It's Soup up here in the booth. Do you have a copy?
Yes, sir.
Kerry, you're having a nice run in the middle of the pack. How you feeling?
It ain't too bad. Not one of my favorite tracks. I'm not real good on short tracks, but it feels pretty good.
I think tonight's your night. I think you're right there. All the chaos is going on behind you. Do you plan to stop for tires? Have you given that any thought?
It just depends on what the people in front of me do.
All right, we're going to keep an eye on you. Good luck. Good to talk to you, man. Go get him.
Thank you, sir.
The Cleaver. They're doubling up. Good to talk to Kerry. We've been wanting to do that for a long time. Well, Lehman getting really good at restarts. He's got Maul to his outside. This time behind him, though, it's Jose Santa Cruz in the 3-1-1. All right. We wait. And we go green. Working lap number 20. Lehman gets the jump. Maul behind him. Santa Cruz working for third. Kilowatts on the outside. There goes Jack in the 777 around JJ.
Yeah, we got another issue in turn 3. No caution yet, but the 25 is spun down toward the inside. I believe he's going to get back going before the field comes back around, so we should stay green. But absolutely, Mason Knapp getting spun there, having an issue going into 3.
They work their way through 3 and 4. Knapp is clear. Knapp working his way into corner number 1 and 2 right now, so they get that sorted out.
Yeah, from the replay real quick, just looks like he had a lot of rear brake dialed into that car and had to get on the binders quicker than he anticipated. So that's what ultimately led to the rear end locking up and him going around. We're watching on screen here, got some action with the 83. Yeah, I'm not sure if he might have some, his right front does look a little weird. I'm not sure if he's got some damage and the car's just pushing really bad. He's also trying to stay out of the way from some of these other drivers right now. But yeah, David Rigsby trying to get it back down to the bottom here.
Well, now we can get ourselves into a little bit of a rhythm. Let's set the table for you. The front 2 guys are beginning to pull away. James Lehman is being chased by Greg Maul. I'm not sure how much of the rubber Maul is using up to stay with Lehman, but so far he's able to hang with him. Jack Killer Watts, I was looking at the stats for him. He is by far the best closer of any driver. There's a stat that they offer for late passes, and he is just miles ahead of anybody else. The 77 knows how to finish. Maybe that's a good sign. He's up close. He won't have to work so hard. How about Jose Santa Cruz? Not used to see him so far up. He races in 4th.
Absolutely.
And then this is a guy we've seen a lot. Red Alert Kirk William in 5th.
Yeah, and he's closing in on these two. The 2 are right ahead of him, Watts and Santa Cruz. They're racing really hard right now. I can see every time they go into the corner, one of the cars is wiggling. You see coming off the corner, Watts gets a little bit free. So Kirk likes what he's seeing right now, and he's not doing anything aggressive. You watch on board the line he's running. He's trying to do that over-under line through turns 1 and 2. That does what I talked about earlier, allows him to get off the corner straight, and you see Watts up ahead with Santa Cruz. These 2 continuing to battle hard as they go through lap traffic.
Let's drop back and take a look at Zachary Groover, car number 27. He just made his way around JJ Yang. Wang was having a nice run. They get around the 46 of Scott Patton. Patton having some issues. We go back to this battle for about 11th position back here. Ty Smith moving up. Just got around Parmalee. Aiden Young has found his rhythm again. Well down the order though now. Oh, he's not only that, he's a couple laps down.
Yeah, he definitely lost a couple laps under that caution. More than anything, probably trying to make sure that he got the repairs done that he needs. He knows there's going to be more action and time to get caught up, and you can see Scott Patton's one of the drivers that's trying to just turn laps with that damage, but ultimately he's going to lose a lot more than those 2 laps that Aiden did.
It's going to be a long night for Scott. We started with 23 drivers. We have 14 still on the lead lap. The last one being David Rigsby.
Yeah, you look up front here. So James is leading this race. He's got the command. He can kind of dictate the pace because this is a place where you can back the field up potentially if you want to. The interesting things you're seeing right now, him and Greg Maul, they've ran away from the rest of this field. They're over 3.5 seconds up on the rest of the field. But they don't appear to be doing anything aggressive, so they're still taking care of their stuff, running their line. The big thing for Greg right now is to not get too excited, like saying, hey, I see James running a little slower, I'm going to try to run hard and make that pass. If you start doing that, you start overdriving the center of the corner, heats up that right front tire, and then you start to get a real bad push on corner exit here. I talked about it a little bit before we went on the air. This car, to me, kind of feels a lot like the SK Modified around here. If you use that right front, you will pay for it late in the run.
The driver that might be coming is in 5th position, William Redler Kirk. He was quite a gap back when we first noticed him behind Watt and Santa Cruz, where he's there now. In fact, he's going to make this pass pretty quick on Santa Cruz.
And Soup, this is the last lap for the stage, so they have closed the pit entrances. Nobody can come down pit road right now, so we are on the final lap of the stage.
Big stage points for James Lehman. As the stage caution comes out, we look through for big names down here. Guys who are in the championship hunt. Maul is not, Watts is not, Santa Cruz is not, Kirk is not, Groover is not. Justin Michael just got in there in 9th spot. Will pick up 2 stage points. Hey! The Beaver, Gary Cleaver. Stage point.
Yeah, so like you talked about, we got a lot of drivers that aren't typically up there in the points at the end of the first stage. We're seeing pit road action right now, so those drivers that are not used to being up there, they got to make sure they hit their marks because they need this track position when we go green again.
Aiden Young stays out to try to get one of those laps back.
Yeah, and that's important because, you know, we know that he stayed on pit road, repaired some damage, but at the same time, I'm sure he took a set of tires. So he does not need to pit here at all. So that was important in order to get that lap back, something you got to be thinking about. If you get into an accident before that stage comes out, you know you have a caution coming. That's an ideal time to make up some ground, get some of those laps back.
Okay, so JR, help me out here. It looks like Young is going to file in if I'm looking. Nope, I guess I'm okay. I thought he was going to file in right behind the leaders, but I guess he's farther back, so they get that sorted out.
Yeah, and he's still going to be 1 lap down. The good news for him, though, he's only racing one other car, Mason Knapp in the 25, for that lucky dog position. So if we get another caution, Aiden's back in this game. So this is the type of things that you have to do if you want to try to win a championship. You have a bad night, make sure you don't have a worse night. Capitalize on the moments like this to get yourself back in the game.
And to drill down a little farther on what you just talked about, this series has been notorious as they start to double up for large grid size. I mean, up into the 40s. If you're going to have a bad night, have it on a night when there's only 23 drivers. I mean, they give out points where you finish, so dead last in a field of 23 is better than 24th in a field of 40.
Yeah, it's exactly right, and luck comes a long way, plays a big part in it. I know it sounds bad to say you're having a lucky night when you have a bad night on a short field like this, but just like you said, that means you lose less points than other drivers that do it in a large field.
All right, well, here we go. We are working our way to the end of this one. Working lap number 41. He has been out the entire way. James Lehman. Oh, my goodness. Some fresh rubber now. We got some excitement. How about a little battle going on for 3rd position? Killer Watts to the inside of Redler Kirk.
Yeah, and this is the time on fresh rubber to try to make up some ground if you can. Once you get back in line, go back to saving those tires and taking care of the tire temps. But right now, if you've got a chance to make a pass, that is what you're trying to do. Now, the interesting thing is that these cars are not going to be handling like they were before the caution came out. These cars are going to be sliding around until those tire temps come up. And you can see Jack Watts, he made that pass. Immediately, Kirk was able to cross him over.
Oh, and a little bit of a hip chip from them, and they keep it going in the right direction. Oh, that time Kirk takes it right down onto the white line. Got his left tires over there. The car got a little squiggly, but they get it sorted out, and finally Watts is going to pull away. Jack Watts in 3rd, William Kirk in 4th.
You see Rob Haynes making an inside move on Justin Michael here, and that's going to cost Michael potentially another spot as he's going to be stuck on that outside. I think he's going to be able to get down in front of the 27 of Groover, and he does there.
Talking about a couple big movers. J.J. Wang up several positions. And don't forget about Michael Milfelt. He's got a win already this season back in the 155. Racing back right now in 7th.
Yeah, Millfelt and Wang that we're seeing on screen right now, you see them slipping and sliding a little bit on corner entry, but these are two big movers. Wang up 12 spots, Millfelt up 13. So these drivers have been keeping it clean while moving through the field tonight. Right now, you can see, I see JJ, he's kind of moving around a little bit on corner entry. I talked about the tire temps being a little bit different and the car handling a little different. This is where you got to kind of make decisions on where you're going to set your brake bias, whether you think you need to move it forward or backwards, depending on what your car is doing. I see a lot of cars look like they're getting loose under braking. Might need to move that brake forward for a little bit.
If memory serves, and as I was forced to tell you, I think JJ Wang, we've seen Wang competitive, but I think they've been on bigger tracks. Not sure if the small tracks are to his liking. Nice to see him running up where he is. Let's check in on the 199 of Rob Haynes. He is on the back of Kerry Cleaver. Cleaver holding down 8th. Let me correct myself. That's Smith in there. So there's a 3-car battle there. Cleaver, Smith, and Haynes.
Yeah, and that's what we're looking on the screen right now is that lucky dog battle for position. We've got Aiden Young and Mason Knapp. They are racing hard for it, and rightfully so, because if another caution comes out, that driver will get their free position, their free lap back, get to come around, pit with the leaders if they need to, and get back on the regular cycle, try to make up positions. Right now, they're stuck in the running order. They're only going to finish 14th or 15th if this race stays green. They need help to get back on the lead lap.
13 cars on the lead lap, and that battle for 14th ever so important. I would put my money, all things being equal, on Aiden Young, but who knows how healthy the car is. Knapp seems to be very competitive. In front of him, though, there's a hornet's nest. That's Justin Michael. Now, Michael is back on the lead lap there. He's in 10th.
Yeah, he's back on the lead lap trying to make something of the night. Now, the interesting thing about the Lucky Dog race here is that this is just like the leaders coming up on the back of the field. They're catching slower traffic, but these drivers are not going to move over for the ones racing for the Lucky Dog. They're a lap down, and they're going to race those drivers hard because they don't feel like they should be up there racing the lead lap cars. It's their right to do so, but that's how racing ends up going. So this is an opportunity for Mason Knapp to try to get that position back from Aiden Young.
Well, Knapp is going to get double teamed because he has not just 1 lap car, but 2 lap cars to deal with there. I'm sorry, Smith, as Knapp now gets into the back of Smith. Poor Smith. Guy Smith must be saying, what's going on here? You guys aren't even on the lead lap. Smith, the meat and the sandwich between those 2 cars that are 1 lap down. Now Young is trying to see what he can do on Justin Michael.
He's going to have to be a little bit patient here. Michael's making that pass on the inside of the 69 car, who is laps down at the moment. Cleaver, or excuse me, he's not laps down. That's Kerry Cleaver up there that's running in 9th place. Having some issues because we've seen him go high and hit the wall a couple of times here, so something not right with that 69 car.
And we hate to talk so much about a car that is 1 lap down, but Aiden Young has the potential to, seeing him in 12th or 13th position at the halfway mark that's about where he is anyway. So if he were to able to unlap himself, he'd be in good shape. Now, what's unusual here, JR, is that Aiden Young in this position would usually just take it easy and just there's no reason to race so hard, but he has to keep in front of these guys because Knapp is putting the pressure on.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got to go right now, and it's all about trying to be in that position to get the lead lap back. So he knows that he has to run hard. He's running harder than he wants to, but this is an important night. We talked about all the title contenders caught up in that 1 wreck. Aiden was one of those drivers that was caught up in it, but he's been able to salvage it. He only came out with 2 laps down. He got 1 of those laps back. He's racing to try to get another one back, and if he does, he can move up through this field and not have a bad night, capitalize on the other title contenders having that bad night.
All right, let's go ahead and watch the leaders here for a minute. Oh, no, we're going to look at this little battle. Oh, there they are. There's our leaders, the 50 and the 7. That's Lehman and Maul. Boy, Maul has just been stalking the 50 all race long. All right, JR, help me out a little bit how the Lucky Dog works. So, Aiden Young back there right now, assuming a yellow were to come out, does he get the wave around and then get to pit with the leaders? Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, absolutely. So he'll get the wave around. Now he's going to have like minimal, almost zero chance of making up any ground on pit road, because he will get waved around right as the other drivers are getting ready to come into pit road. So he'll come on the pit road absolutely last, but he gets to pit with the leaders and he'll get to be on the tail end of that field when they start. That gives him opportunity to make up position. So yeah, he will be on the same tire cycle if we get a caution.
And we may have jumped to conclusions there, because perhaps maybe James Lehman, maybe Maul, although if I were Maul, I would do the opposite of whatever Lehman does right now. I think right now, unless Maul's happy to get a second position, I think that's what he's destined to get, unless he does something different. But there's a chance maybe the leader doesn't come in.
Yeah, and I agree with that, because I'm kind of looking at lap times right now. Those drivers that are up front, they're only running about 0.3 of a second slower than their fastest lap tonight. That's not a big fall off. And at a place like Martinsville, if you can maintain the bottom of the track and get your car rotated and turn to get a good exit, you can hold off a driver that's 0.3 of a second faster than you. So yeah, absolutely. If I'm Maul, I'm probably going to be doing the opposite of what Lehman does if we get a caution.
But now does the plot thicken? Can we turn our attention to David Rigsby? Did he just go a lap down? And now that makes Aiden Young somebody he's got to catch.
Yeah, and that's a point that we haven't talked about, Soup, so very, very good point. Another reason why Aiden Young was driving so hard, because he understands that. He knows that if another driver goes a lap down, he's got to get there as quickly as possible. Unfortunately, right now, he's going to be quite a distance off, but we see Rigsby actually coming to pit road right now, and Aiden Young's going to repass him right here on the front stretch.
The lap cars are beginning to fall. I believe Cleaver now is next in line. And he's about, I'd say, straight away ahead of the leaders.
Yeah, he's about 3 seconds ahead of our leaders right now, so still good time. It's going to take the leaders a little while to get there. I know that they're running probably 3 or 0.4 of a second faster, but still going to take a little while to get there, approximately 10 laps. We see Rigsby coming off pit road, getting a little bit loose going through the gears, but he's able to rejoin the track, and his car looks like it's in healthy condition right now.
Just to drill down a little bit, when you said he was 3 seconds ahead, 3 seconds ahead of being lapped, is that?
Correct, yeah, he's
okay.
3 seconds ahead of the leaders right now, so it's still going to take approximately 10 laps before the leaders get to him.
Looking there at car number 87. We are well past the halfway mark now. How about a little tip of the hat to car number 7, Greg Maul? James Lehman, clearly one of the toughest drivers in the series. Maul just staying right with him.
Yeah, no, I've not really seen Greg do anything as far as pushing the vehicle. I thought that he had a shot to pass James on that last restart. He got a great run off of 2, but instead he chose not to be aggressive and has kind of just rode there. So I really think Greg is just trying to push James as much as he can without overdriving his car himself. At this point, we see the cars are starting to get really tight on corner exit. We see drivers really coming off wide and then having to pull the car back down. And there's one car in the wall off of
That's
turn
Kerry
4.
Cleaver. He was trying to get out of the way of the leaders as they came around. That's car number 69. This is going to get a bit confusing. Kerry Cleaver, now the first car 1 lap down, but it won't be long until the 069 gets to him, because Cleaver does not have the pace, but there's a long way to go for Aiden Young to get up there.
Yeah, Aiden's about a half lap down from Kerry, but trying to look at what kind of lap times they're running, and yeah, this last time by, Aiden appears to be 3 or 4/10 of a second faster, so we'll have to see how this one plays out.
Let's go up here and look at Mason Knapp. He just got a little bit of a, Knapp got a tap from the 50, trying to help them find a racing line. They get through. And look at the 7 now. Coming like a rocket, trying to take advantage of the lap traffic is Greg Mall.
It was an opportunity. It just did not play out. If that couldn't have been worse, I feel like, for Mall, because if you want that opportunity to happen, you really want it to happen in turns 1 and 2, then you can kind of do that over-under action. I don't feel like turn 3 on corner entry really allows you to run that higher line and get a good exit. It kind of burns off some of your speed there, and that's where that happened. If that happened on the other end of the track, Greg would have had a great opportunity there.
All right. Let's talk about a battle for 9th. This is Justin Michael being tracked down by Ty Smith. Getting out of the way is the number 2 of Kibosh. Here come the leaders. Now, this is a battle for position ahead of them. And, of course, Justin Michael in the points hunt as well. Boink, says Ty Smith. That's going to cost him momentum. Getting into the back of Michael slows him down. That opens the door. Here come the 2 leaders.
Yeah, and the 22 there just getting very high of Ty Smith. I thought he was going to try to follow our leaders through because that would have been his opportunity to try to pass Justin Michael. But now with that gap, Justin's able to move over for these leaders, not be involved in what they've got going on. And then he's going to try to duck back down, but he looks like he gets high too. Just, you don't want to get that high in 3 and 4.
All right, they get that sorted out. Now, I want to talk about Aiden Young again. He's buried like 2 lap cars down. Him getting the lucky dog, maybe not the issue. But what he might be able to do is just run down these guys, Smith and Cleaver, and get those positions legitimately without the wave around, and get himself a decent point night. Get himself a top 10.
Yeah, he's going to have to keep running hard. I'm looking at those drivers that are ahead of him. Obviously, I think he can catch Kerry Cleaver before the race is over with. He's continued to run 3 or 4 tenths of a second faster than Kerry is, but the other drivers ahead of him are running lap times comparable to himself. That time by, I did see Justin Michael and Ty Smith fall off a little bit, so he's got opportunity, but he's so far behind them right now.
All right, stay with me, Director. I'm going to run them through the top 10. The guys are on the lead lap. Here we go. We'll start with James Lehman. Working lap number 84. The entire time out front, the entire time he has been stalked by the number 7 of Greg the Champ Mall. Then you got to go a little farther back to get to the guy in 3rd. This is Jack Kilowatts to the number 77. He's coming up on the lap car there of Mason Knapp. He negotiates that. He's got himself a nice gap before he gets back to the driver racing in 4th. William Riddler Kirk in the number 9. But my goodness, there is a nice battle back here. That is Jose Santa Cruz. And JJ Wang in a great battle. So here's a nice little battle for what would be 4th, 5th, and 6th. As they come up behind Knapp. This is fun.
Yeah, we've got some tight racing right now. Santa Cruz getting a little bit loose going into turn 3. JJ right behind him trying to capitalize on it, but definitely for this top 5 spot, that's a prestigious spot to be in. And like you talked about, so if we see more contact there, it's going to open it up for JJ.
Oh!
He's going to get to the inside.
Did I hear my partner talk about the chrome horn? Beep, 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 beep. My car went beep, beep, beep. It's JJ Wang.
Yeah, if you want to use that chrome horn, now's the time to do it. The pay window's starting to open up, only 13 laps to go. And obviously, I think we're seeing on screen a lot of drivers struggling at this point. This is a very long green flag run. A lot of drivers have abused their cars. Not only that right front through the center of the corner I talked about, making the car really tight from the center off, but I see a lot of drivers continuing to get loose. There's one, JJ getting loose, going into the corner. He does a nice dive and doesn't go around. He's going to keep it going for us to stay green, but that's exactly what I was talking about, getting loose under braking. If you got too much rear brake, that is what you will get in the long run.
With a great view of that was Michael Milfelt, as he now moves up into 7th, capitalizing on JJ Wang's excursion to the wall. Wang falls back now into, I believe, 8th spot.
He's going to be 7th. Last car on the lead lap right now.
There you go. And there you go. I took you through all the cars on the lead lap. Didn't take long with only 7. Let's go back and look at our leaders again.
Yeah, now that we're inside 10 to go here, Maul has closed up that gap. So I think he's done trying to put pressure on James. This is the time where he's got to try to figure out how to make the pass. You see him running that different line than Lehman getting into turn 3. He's trying to go just slightly higher on corner entry and get a better rotation, get a more straight exit off the corner. It looks like it's helping him a little bit in turns 3 and 4, not so much in 1 and 2 right now.
And you just saw what happened to JJ Wang. When the tires go, they can go quick. Lehman, a veteran, knows how to nurse what he's got. But looking at it right now, I think Maul is given the number 50 all he could hope for.
Yeah, and it's all about putting pressure on, because if you continue to put the pressure on, that's going to make that lead car run as hard as they possibly can. And we just saw with some of the other cars like JJ a little earlier, if you continue to push the issue getting into the corner, eventually something's going to happen. Depending on how you've got your brakes, you're either going to lock up that right front or you're going to lock up your rear tires getting in, and that's an opportunity for Greg Maul. You can see Greg, he's able to close up under braking getting into the corners.
And I'm going to speak here for Kerry Cleaver. Well done, Kerry. I've been in that position. First of all, you've made it to the end. Your car is racing as horrible as it's ever done. You're already talent challenged, or to be racing with the leaders. And then you have to go up on the dirty part of the track. That can get very scary, but the 69 does a good job. The leaders go by. Woo!
Yeah, and when you're a newer driver, actually see Kerry Cleaver, I think he got loose going into turn 1 and smacked the inside wall down there. He keeps it going, though. So he's allowing us to stay green, and that's something that you can do. The way he raced the leaders, that's how you gain respect in a league. That's how you get drivers to trust you and be willing to race around you each and every week.
I'm telling you, JR, it is nervous, though. It's probably one of the most nervous things you have to do if you're a driver in that kind of situation where you're just having fun, and then your tires are gone, and you have to go up there where you don't want to go, and the leaders are going by. He makes it work. Okay, we are on lap number 99. Greg Maul, you have 6 corners to get this done. We got into a rhythm, and it's been a long green flag run. The flag man picks up the flag that has no pigment. He waves it. 4 corners to go here at Martinsville. James Lehman, he has won twice. He came into the race, had to have a good one. He had no pocket points for insurance. 1 corner to go. He's going to leave here the points leader. James Lehman gets the win. Big stage points. Big night in the points. Maul will get 2nd. And Jack Killer Watts will get 3rd. Story of our race was Aiden Young, hoping to get a top 10. Didn't quite get there. 11th, but still a decent night. Justin Michael, 9th. The racing is over. Our broadcast is not. We'll take a short break, come back and run down the entire field before we talk to the top 3 drivers, and then put a lock on the gate. You're watching the Virtual Grip Network. Welcome back to Martinsville Speedway and the Virtual Grip Network's penultimate round coverage of the Maximum Velocity Racing League's MVRL Monday Night ARCA Series. The results are in the books, and it was a fun one tonight, even though they went wire to wire. There was some good racing up front, because I'll tell you right now, Greg Mall gave James Lehman everything he could hope for, made him work, kept him honest. Nevertheless, Lehman goes wire to wire for the win. Mall started in third, picks up one spot to come home in second. Jack Killer Watts, well, from 10th to third, a nice job for him. William Riddler Kirk, 12th to 4th, very well done. Rounding out the rest of your top 10, well, that is Jose Santa Cruz. Michael Milford, 20th to 6th, very impressive. JJ Wang has some trouble, but nevertheless finishes in 7th. Rob Haynes, Justin Michael, one of your points leader, he's a lap down, as is Aiden Young, who comes home in 10th. Aiden Young does get that top 10 finish. JR?
Yeah, coming home in 11th place tonight, we've got Ty Smith. We saw some battles with him on track. Kerry Cleaver doing the best he could to get that car to the finish line. The only car 2 laps down the night. He'll come home in 12th place. Zachary Groover come home in 13th. David Rigsby, we saw him on pit road during a green flag cycle, and he still comes home in 14th place. Greg Parmalee comes home in 15th. Kyle Kasselbach, he'll come home in 16th place. Mason Knapp, 17th place. Scott Patton, one of your title contenders, coming home in 18th, along with Heath Smith, another title contender, come home in 19th. A bad night for both of those drivers. And Brandon Groover, he'll come home in 20th position.
In the blackjack position, Vaya con Dios, we say to Chris Braley, with Cal Majowski in the double duck spot, and Michael Van did not grid up. So 22 drivers took the grid. It was a fun one. Let's go ahead and talk to our race winner. For the third time this season, James Lehman gets to victory lane. Well done, but my goodness, Greg Mall kept you honest.
Yeah, he sure did. He kept me on my toes there for a while, that's for sure.
The first part of the race was restarts and caution, restarts and caution. The inside line seemed to be the place to be early on.
Yeah, it sure did. I mean, this track it's a very bottom feeder track. I mean, it depends on the car, of course. I feel like if it was like a late model stock, you could definitely get the high side to work a little bit better, but with these ARCA cars, it's definitely right next to the curve all the way around.
All right, we were looking at lap times and the tire fall off. It didn't seem to be that horrible. Was there any thought of not coming in, or were you always coming in? You didn't care how many people stayed out at that caution at the stage break?
You know, I definitely crossed my mind. Was debating on coming in, but then there was that fear that if it did go green, the tires would make a little bit of a difference. So I just gambled it, went in, and everybody else went in. Okay,
we'll get you out of here on this one, and this is more of a race management question than details. Do you know if they can drop the final round coming up next week? Is that droppable if a disaster were to hit, or does that last round count no matter what?
Yeah, the last round is droppable.
Okay.
So as soon as the race is over, the points will be updated. That way the champion could be crowned.
Does not help you at all, though, because you have those 2 missed races, so you're going to have to get a good one. No cushion for you next round. Good luck.
Thank you, guys.
James Lehman will be your points leader, but he'll still have to have a good finish. There's not a lot of cushion, not a lot of points in his pocket for insurance. All right, JR, who you got?
All right, I'm with Greg Mall. Greg, congratulations on a second place run. You were, without a doubt, the only driver that could keep up with James tonight. Was there any thought in your mind that you might just have something to make a pass there at the end?
It was definitely in the back of my mind there, JR. I just know that James is running for a chip in this series, so I wanted to keep that in the back of my mind, and it felt like we had a shot maybe a handful of times there with the last 10-15 laps to go, but I just knew I didn't want to put James in jeopardy of, I was way too concerned about that. So I felt like we kind of evened out on times during the last 6-8 laps, and then he just got within 3 or 4 tenths ahead of me, and I just didn't really have a chance to really reel him back in at that point. So not a bad night.
No, not a bad night at all. And we kind of talked about it on the broadcast with the other drivers. That's a great way to earn respect with your competitors when you really race them clean in a moment like that. So that can go a long way for anybody that's watching at home on the broadcast. Question with points. I know you've missed a couple of races this season, so you're a little bit back in points, but do you plan on racing next week? Because this is a good momentum run for you. Could lead into next season if you plan on being around, getting some good runs here at the end.
Yeah, I feel like, points just being kind of all over the place with this series for me anyways. Just been a few DNFs last handful of weeks, just haven't been in the right spot at the right time, so just taking it with a grain of salt. But yeah, definitely looking forward to next week, and yeah, I'm curious to see how the next season schedule looks like. I think James got it posted in the Discord for everybody to look at, but yeah, it should be something to definitely look forward to after a good finish tonight here.
All right, I'll let you go on this one, man. What are your thoughts going into next week then, since you're going to be here? Going to Michigan, 75 laps in this car. What do you think?
I'm still trying to figure out this tire model, honestly, JR. I feel like it's just a little bit different than the rest of the NASCAR, Cup Xfinity truck. I feel like it's just a little bit different as far as the design, especially with how hard James and I ran tonight. Just still trying to figure out what it likes, what it doesn't like. The runs, like the momentum on Michigan with these cars just being as significant as it is definitely going to be something to pay attention to next week for sure.
Yeah, this tire model is still definitely a mystery in this car. That's still new for the season, so we'll see how next week goes for you. Hopefully we'll get to talk to you after the race, though, Greg.
Yes, sir.
All right, guys, this is Greg Mall. He's our second place finisher tonight. With that, Soup, who you got?
I got the driver, the number 77, Jack Kilowatts. My goodness, he races every week, and it took him to the penultimate round to get his first podium. Jack, congratulations. Nice run.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. It was hard fought.
You were in there were some interesting battles going on. Finally, once you got clear of William Kirk there, you were able to pretty much have it your own way. Any thoughts of staying out when the stage break came?
Nah, I wanted to get tires just kind of like everybody else, make sure they were fresh, because I figured we were going to have a long run there towards the end.
Looking at results earlier, you've had a decent result at Chicago, and then another pretty good result in the season opener at Daytona. You like the big tracks better than the short tracks? Tonight would prove differently.
Most of them. I love Martinsville. It's just trying to get it all sorted out. That's the tough part, but the track is really fun because it's a rhythm track, and I really like this place.
It was fun to watch a race. Let's go ahead and talk about coming up at Michigan. How you feel about that one? How's Watts going to do?
I'm hoping to be back in the top 5. I love Michigan. It's a great, wide place to race, get to go fast, so I just love that place. It's a lot of fun over there.
You had a little bit of a slow start of the season. You've been closing fast. Well done. It's fun to watch a race. We'll see you down the road.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate Max V. Appreciate you guys doing the broadcast. Thanks for all you do.
You got it, killer. Jack Watts with a third-place finish. That's going to do it for us. We're going to put up a graphic now that confuses me, but you all know how to figure this out. One thing that you want to go down is watch down there for when is the next Wakey BGN, because that's really good. Oh, it's at the very top. Mike Holloway's going to be the guest. He's a BRLer. He's got a lot of experience. He's very entertaining. You don't want to miss that. That's going to be coming up. That's going to be dropping, like the kids say, tomorrow morning, so you don't want to miss that, June 10th. Other races coming up there, and of course, we'll be back next week to close out the season here for the Maximum Velocity Racing League. With that said, we hope you enjoyed the broadcast. If you didn't, we'll try to do better next time. On behalf of all the little faces you see right there, I'm going to say thank you for watching, and until next time, have fun storming the castle.